because this song is called Alice's Restaurant. It's about Alice and the restaurant. But Alice's Restaurant wasn't the name of the restaurant. That was always just the name of the song. I guess that's why I still call the song Alice's Resturant. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. Walk right in, it's around the back, just a half a mile from the railroad track. And you can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. I pretty much learned to play this and do almost anything. Have a conversation in politics, religion, argue the best points in both sides of every issue. Go scuba diving, skiing, mountain climbing, and be playing this song. Just like breathing now. This is actually the only part I remember. I'm trying to learn the rest of it. You know, if I would have known it was going to be so popular, I would have made it a lot shorter. But next year, 2015 will be the 50th anniversary of writing this freaking thing. I promised a lot of people I'd do a tour with it, you know, and so I'm trying to learn it again. They've already booked the tour. I don't even know it. But Abe said I could learn it, because I didn't mean to stop, but he said I could put like an iPad or something down there. And so I wouldn't have to worry about it. I thought, why should I be the only one? Why don't we just put it on a big screen and we could have the bouncing ball go by and we could all do it. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be a sing-along, it would be more like a talk-along, but it's just such a stupid idea, it'd be worth doing. You know what I'm saying?
Go away!
So we'll be starting that tour in January. That'll last for a while. That's about a year and a half that I have committed to doing that. So I'm trying to put that together. You know, songs are like, especially songs about events that happen. Are, I mean, if you think about it, people go to where things have happened. You know what I'm saying? It could be a famous battleground. It could be a miracle happen. Doesn't matter if it's good, bad, or indifferent. Doesn't matter what happened. People go if something happened there. When I was in Ireland, I was telling you about that. Everywhere you go, something happened. And there's always somebody got to tell you about it. Over Guinness. Which means they don't actually remember what happened by the time they get into the story. So I think they're just making stuff up, but the truth is, we all know it, because you go to those, here's my sneaking suspicion is what I'm saying, here's what I'm getting at. Every time somebody goes to a place where something happened, they leave a little piece of themselves. So the next time somebody goes, there's even more there than there was to begin with. And it keeps building up time after time, year after year, decade after decade, century after century, until you get near these places where something happened, you can feel it. I don't know if you're feeling anything that has to do with the event or the people that have been going to see it or feel it or whatever they're doing there. I think the same thing happens with songs. You write a song, might not be all that much to it, but you get enough people singing it over time, leaving a little piece of themselves every time they do. After a couple of decades, if you whatever it is, I mean, there's a spirit to the song. You feel when you just hear it. I don't know if it has to do with the song or the spirit of the people been singing it all that time. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And,
yeah.
I think that's what happened to this song. Here's what I'm getting at. As I went walking the highway, I saw above me, and in the skyway, I saw below me a golden valley. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land, and this land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters, this land was made footsteps through the sparkling sands of your diamond deserts, and all around me a voice was sounding. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters, this land was made for you and me. Actually, I remember when I wrote. I didn't even stop again, but I remember when I wrote. I remember when I learned this song, because I was in the 5th grade when I discovered civil disobedience. And it happened by accident. I didn't mean to, but it occurred to me one day that homework was wrong. It was just a morally bankrupt concept. I mean, regular people that worked for a living were not expected to continue working when they got home. That's what the union guys been fighting about for over 100 years. Woo! Where was the union when I needed it? I just quit doing it anyhow. And my mom appreciated the thought process, just not the conclusion. So she took me out of that school I was in, put me in one of these progressive schools so I could progress. I remember I walked in the first day of the new school when all the kids were standing up singing my dad's song, "This land is your land." I was the only one there that didn't know the words. Nobody told me that stuff was famous outside our house. When you're a kid, you don't think of stuff like that. So I ran home the end of the day, tears in my eyes, and I told my father what had happened. He took me out in the backyard, made me get him this little guitar he'd given me on my 5th birthday, which I still have. And he showed me the chords out there, you know. When I had that much done, he taught me the words. When I had the words down, he taught me some verses that wasn't in the school book version. So when I went back the next day, I went back armed. I've been singing the song ever since, you know. Woo! It's spread around the world. Everywhere we go, people sing it in different languages, sing it in different locations associated with it, but people feel that this world is their world, you know. And the truth is that I like feeling like that myself. It's nice feeling like you ought to be somewhere. It's hard to get off the world. Well, not for everybody, but you know what I'm saying, most of the time. Yeah. I'm enjoying myself right now. Probably not as much fun for you, but
it works, buddy.
But you know what? I'm sure if my dad was around, if he'd lived to be this old, he'd be about 102 at this point, he would have been doing the same things he was doing back then. He'd be out on the street, you know, with all the young occupying kids and all that. He would have been at the rally today here in town, you know, protesting the deportation of so many folks. Everybody needs to be somewhere, and people are usually happier where they are. And if they're not, you ought to be able to go somewhere else. You know? My dad would have been out there arguing about, he was one of these people that loved to see people out on the streets. He loved to see people arguing about things. He wasn't so concerned about whether he was right or wrong or left or right or up and down or this. He was more interested in, you know, in the feelings that people get when they feel like they shouldn't say anything. That was the big danger to him. When people feel like, well, it'd be better off just, you know, keeping your mouth shut. He loved the idea that the country moves through the arguments that it has with the people who are willing to make them. And so I will leave you with the last verse tonight that I learned out in the backyard so many years ago. It goes something like this. Nobody living can ever stop me as I go on my freedom highway. Nobody living can make me turn back. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream This land is yours.